All right, everybody, welcome back to the pod. Um, hmm. So these fires in LA are not going good at all. There's a new fire in Studio City. It's almost 9:30 p.m. on January 8th, 2025 right now. Kind of talked before about, you know, just basically how I was saying, I'd like to go snowboarding. There hadn't been any natural snow. I think maybe today was the first natural snowfall at Big Bear. To my knowledge, unless I missed a storm, but yeah, we've got the Santa Ana winds other than that, and no other wet weather. So the what do you call it? The wind was pretty strong yesterday. I was out doing a lot of stuff yesterday and right before 5 p.m. and like pretty much afternoon till like 5 p.m. and it was really it was just crazy. Like the wind. I had to I wear a cap a lot of the times, a baseball cap, and it was like I had to like hold it down or like position it like perfectly. Like it's pretty snug because I've got fluffy hair, but woke up this morning. Last night I had already decided to do errands, but I was gonna like start working early this morning, like out of the house, and then I know with traffic I have to be back around like 7:30 or something, or else from like closer to 8 all the way to like I don't know all the way to like I don't know what time, probably like 9:30 or so. There's quite a bit of traffic these days, and so luckily I woke up, did errands, got groceries, and did all that before like 7:30 even. So I was just like, okay, stayed home. I don't think I even knew there was a fire going on, because yesterday I went to a taco shop to pick up some tacos and like some Mexican food for Taco Tuesday for me and my mom, and I saw something on the TV, but the way it was positioned, I was standing in the pickup line, and the TV was like so far above my head, and I had to like look straight up, and so it was like I couldn't really see what was going on, but there were some of the staff that were kind of like hugging each other, and then I was kind of like, what's going on? And I saw like it was in Spanish, like they were watching it on like a Spanish language news station, so I couldn't read what was going on, even though I kind of saw the words, and then I saw something in Spanish, so I thought it was something in Mexico, I thought, and I just didn't think much of it. And I guess earlier that day I'd heard I don't know what time it was, but I had heard what do you call it? Like some kind of like, it sounded like military aircraft or something, like not the normal small planes. We have a small airport nearby. We're not super far from Zamperini Field, but they don't have like a lot of major stuff there, and they have helicopters, but what I was hearing wasn't something that I'm used to hearing. And I just kind of said I thought nothing of it other than how it reminded me of this is like even before I learned of everything. Like I was telling a friend this. I was like, yeah, like it reminded me of kind of how I felt the night of September 11th. But that night I remember there were like I was in LA, same area, and there were a lot of what do you call it? What do you call those things? Like, yeah, like I said, like some type of military aircraft. I guess they were patrolling the coastline at that point, but because I heard them flying around a lot during that night. But I think yesterday I heard like one sound like that, and then it kind of just like reminded me of that time. But I thought nothing of it other than telling a friend how it reminded me of that time. And then I started going through my mind, like, how prepared are we if something were to happen? And I was just telling my friend, I was like, yeah, like, thinking about how traffic is out here and stuff, you know, because I'm so far west, we'd probably only have to go east, or, you know, maybe south, or it depends what's going on, you know. But I'm like, with traffic, there's no way we'd make it out, you know, we'd be stuck. And so we might be better off just staying put, whatever, depending on whatever it is that's going on, because I didn't even know anything was going on. It is just kind of weird how that kind of came to my mind, just like so quickly. And then, you know, this morning, you know, because I was driving around listening to K-Rock, and then, you know, they're doing their petty court calls, and I like that show. It's kind of funny in the morning. They call people about, like, petty stuff, and so, like, people about, like, oh, why is it that when you load the dishwasher, you know, you rinse all the dishes, you put in the soap, you put in the dishes, and then you don't press wash to actually, like, wash the dishes. Like, they're complaining about stuff that people they know or people they live with or family members they know kind of, like, do that annoys them. And so, you know, with that, some of the people on K-Rock were talking about, you know, how they were affected, you know, trying to get to work and all that kind of stuff. And so then I was like, oh, shoot, you know. And then I guess, I don't know if I heard it first from, like, Instagram, because I don't really watch the news. But maybe I saw it on, like, YouTube or Instagram or something. And I was like, something's going on. And so I looked it up, and I was like, oh, no, like, this isn't good at all. And so I made sure I messaged all my family and stuff as fast as possible that we're okay, and kind of sent, like, a picture, like a screenshot picture of, like, the location where we are compared to where the fires are, and how we're good and we're not evacuated, and some of the people I know in those areas are evacuated, and, like, La Cañada, Flint Ridge, and in Hollywood, and Pasadena, and Azusa, and so I checked in with a lot of people that I know, and pretty much everyone I know checked in, you know, everyone was okay. The only people I'm really worried about right now are people that I do know a couple people who stayed behind in Hollywood, but for them it sounded like if they did leave, they would have needed, like, a lot of support to leave, because, like, they have people in their lives that are kind of, like, hooked up to stuff because of health issues and stuff, and to have to sit in the car in traffic and all that is, like, it would be, like, just so uncomfortable for them, and to not be home and stuff would be so uncomfortable. Like, it would maybe make them worse, or their conditions worse. And so they're staying they feel like it's healthier for some of these family members to stay. And so the only people I know who have stayed have that situation. Everyone else I know is out of there. I don't know where they are or where they went, but they're out. So I'm just glad that I got to check in with everybody early. I got a lot of scary pictures, like first-hand pictures from people of what they've seen when they were kind of trying to drive. But luckily everyone I know got out early. Traffic is always an issue out here, but it sounds like since it's late at night now, we'll see how things go in the morning. People were saying that they, you know, some of the people I know went and picked up their kids, they dropped their kids off at school, went on about their day to go to work, and then decided, no, we're going to go back and pick up the kids and then come back home. And so a lot of people I know went to work and then came back home. A lot of other people I know left and left from work after, sorry, my throat's weird, after having been there for a long time. They left from work, and then a lot of people just didn't go to work. Some people couldn't get out of Pasadena because of the evacuation. coming from other areas, and I know some people who are in Glendale who said they're safe. I don't know. I just tried to message everybody as early as possible because of like phone reception and, you know, power. Made sure I charged up as much stuff as I can, in case we lose power. My sinuses are pretty affected. My sinuses, but you know, I'm breathing fine. It's just I've stayed in. I kept my bathroom window open, but the door shut. But that's the only window in the house that I know of that's open. And then it definitely smells smoky in there. But maybe a little bit less smoky now than it did earlier this morning. When I was driving earlier this morning, and when I, you know, put the wipers on, it was just completely, like, there was ash, and then, it was just, like, dirty. It was actually, I was debating with myself last night even, because I was like, what errands do I need to get done? And I was like, I need to get a car wash. And I was like, well, I don't want to spend the money, but I'm like, I feel better about myself when my car is clean, you know? So I was like, okay, I'm going to be up early, so let me go out early. And this was even before I even knew what was going on. So I'm just glad I slept on time and woke up early as planned, because otherwise I probably wouldn't even have heard the news. I'm glad I got to check in with people early, because I would have been worrying. So everyone I know is safe. I don't know. I haven't heard back from anyone about damage to their homes. I knew some people in the valley that are in San Diego. They left back to San Diego today. I don't think I knew anyone at the airport at LAX. And so, yeah, everyone I know is pretty much safe. I'm just really grateful that people communicate and that we all got in touch early. That really helps. I'm in some chat groups and stuff where there's some people that are still struggling, you know, they've kind of mentioned. And, yeah, a lot of people I follow on social media, the people that I talk to you guys about, a lot of them live out here in LA. It's not uncommon to come across, you know, people who live in LA, who post on social media, who are celebrities or who are YouTube type of celebrities. And, you know, a lot of them moved. You know, there was like that whole shift where a bunch of YouTubers moved to LA, and, you know, it's just hard to see places that I've been to, you know, places I've been to, places I've seen, places I want to go to. Just like not, you know, we're not going to the observatory or the Getty or Runyon Canyon or any of those places anytime soon. I know that's not, you know, entertainment isn't like always the main goal, but, you know, that is kind of something to think about. It's like, you know, the places that are burning are places that we hang out on the weekends. It's like, these are places we go to. You know, you go, even if you don't live in Malibu, you go to Malibu, like, you'll go there eventually. You know, you go to Hollywood, even if you don't live there. So, you know, and it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of celebrity homes, a lot of very wealthy people's homes and properties. I mean, look on Zillow and see how much these properties cost. Like, you'd be pretty amazed if you see, you know, the cost of these houses, or the price or the worth of these houses that in some of these areas are burning, or just in general the price of houses in certain areas. When you look at it, you're like, whoa. Like, you know, we all know that, you know, even rent and housing in LA is already super expensive, and to think about people who have been able to accomplish what they can accomplish to even afford something like that, and then to have it all taken away. Like somebody was saying, I don't know, probably on news channel, they were saying that, like, you know, homeowner. No, it's not, I read it somewhere where they were saying like homeowners insurance is like $120,000 or something a year for some of these houses. It's like $120,000 for like, not homeowners insurance, but fire insurance, because like that just shows like how devastating the fires are and how often they come. It's like we have fire season every year, but usually it's not usually in January, because usually we have some kind of rainy weather. But like they were saying, because I was like, when was the last time it rained? Like somebody said it rained a little bit in December, and I think it did. And I remember complaining about it. I think it rained for like a day in December. And then they said before that it hadn't rained. So December 2024, and then before that it hadn't rained since May of 2024. So it rained at the beginning of summer, and then it rained at the end of the year, and that's all the rain we've really had. I haven't even gone up snowboarding. Like, the conditions haven't even been good enough to want to go. But yeah, it's not easy to see the destruction. Yeah, I love the city of LA. I love it. You know, I will probably always say that I love it. You know, this city is insane. It's crazy. It's chaotic, but you know, it is a beautiful city. It's a beautiful city. It's got a lot of beauty and interesting things to offer. And it's just really, got a lot of history, a lot of details, and culture of LA reaches other places in the world, because, unless you don't know anything about Hollywood, unless you're completely offline or completely, like, not, engaging with any kind of media, like, LA is known for entertainment and media, that's pretty much what it's known for, you've got musicians, you've got acting, you've got sports, and that is, that's not all there is to LA, but it's like, that reaches people from all around the world watch that kind of stuff, and so, and it's such a densely populated city too, and the houses are so close together. I've talked about it before, trying to describe how our houses are here, how I've described that, you could maybe fit like a car between the houses, maybe not two side by side, but even if you could fit two side by side, that's probably about max of the distance that you can actually fit, maybe 2 to 3 cars side by side, because some might have like one driveway and then of one house and then like a driveway of the other house next to it or something, and usually the driveways fit like 2 cars. But it's just insane, thinking of the traffic and the amount of people and the amount of houses. I'm just glad that people were evacuating and getting out. I mean, I don't know the death toll there at the moment. I mean, earlier they said it was 2. At the moment, I've heard it was 5. I'm just recording before I go to bed. But at the moment, they said it was 5. I don't know if it's gonna be more. I mean, I don't know if they can even tell, because I don't even think that's something that they're really prioritizing right now, is like counting those amount of people. But I would just say, as far as disasters and natural disasters are concerned, if it's 5 people, I mean, that's still a lot of people in my opinion. But I mean, with the amount of homes and buildings lost and stuff, you could think it could have been way more people, like there were schools that burned, that didn't have anybody in them as far as I know. It sounds like people took precautions, they got out, I want to say that hopefully I don't even want to say this out loud, but I'm glad they got out, and I'm hoping, I'm hoping it's not like, I'm hoping that if this fire does spread to some of the less ritzy areas, to some of the lower income areas, that they'll treat it just as seriously, and they're not gonna flip the script and be like, oh, like, you guys make less money, so we're just not gonna provide services or whatever. Like, that's kind of what I worry about. And I know it sounds maybe stupid, but if you know how politics and things work, I mean, you see that kind of stuff all the time, where there's kind of that divide between, like, who gets to get saved and who doesn't, and it sounds like, at least from what they're making it sound like, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of potential damage to actual people in these areas. Like, as far as, I guess what I'm trying to say is that they've evacuated. So, because they've done such a good job with the evacuation, maybe not the best job, because you can only do so much about traffic. I mean, it sounds like people were leaving the cars because of the traffic. You see Audis, Teslas, BMWs, just left on the side of the road, getting bulldozed out of the way and damaged. And it's like, I hope everybody's got the insurance they need. I hope everyone's gonna get the help they need. I hope, it's gonna work out fine for everyone. There's a lot of resources out there. You can find them online. I don't really want to speak to them. I don't like speaking to resources that I've never used. But find them online. I will just say, as from what I've learned from working with resource sites, call them when they open, like right when they open, like 5 minutes or so after they open. Already start dialing, like, once they've opened their doors, because it's going to be hard to get through lines for places, but it's pretty devastating and shocking to see. Today was the first day I kind of, mustered up a lot of motivation last night and kind of pumped myself up for today. So I actually, had more energy than I probably on average would have had, but it kind of all went into just making sure everyone I know isn't, like, suffering, because, the people I know don't all have a lot of cash. It's not like that. Like, even though people need a lot of money to live out here, it doesn't mean that they always really have it. And so, because they might be spending it on all the stuff that they need. So it's kind of hard, to see people that I know that are already struggling. They just had the holidays. That was already pressure and a struggle. And maybe they had to leave town, and maybe they weren't working for a couple weeks. Maybe they didn't even get paid. And now they're coming back, and then, like, starting, the second week of the new year, there's a disaster forcing them out of their area. And it's like, people don't have money in their banks like that right after the holidays to be, like, trying to pay for urgent stuff. So I'm just making sure that everybody, like, has a place that's, warm to stay, warm place to sleep, warm, safe place to sleep. Nobody I know is crashing out in their car. Everybody either knows somebody or has a place to go. They've got enough water, beverages, food to eat, a way to get around, even if they don't have reliable transportation or money for gas in their car. They're doing good as in, they're able to kind of get what they need. So, I'm happy about that. And yeah, today I may have heard sirens maybe 3 times, and that's pretty limited compared to usual. I've heard some limited air traffic, but I've also heard some other air traffic that I don't normally hear. I used to live closer to LAX, and I know what it sounds like. I know what those planes sound like out of the airport, and it sounded like airport planes. We don't usually hear them that loud over here, but I know what it sounds like because we used to live closer to the airport to where you could like hear the planes, and it sounded like that. It sounded like the planes from the airport. So I don't know if they're being directed a little more like our direction. We already don't live far from LAX, but they just sounded a lot louder than usual. Some did. There were some, like maybe 3 or 4 that sounded like really loud compared to like the normal air traffic we have. Like the air traffic we usually have here, like I mentioned, is usually just those little bitty planes, or helicopters, and the occasional military helicopter if something's going wrong, like military aircraft if something's going wrong. You don't usually hear the LAX. Like you can see them, you can usually see those planes in a far distance because we're near the ocean. And LAX is off kind of technically off the 105 for the most part. If you're driving towards the west, if you just take the 105 all the way west, pretty much all the way, like you can get an entrance to the airport. But I mean, I don't know. LA's got some beautiful homes. It's those hills have some beautiful homes. It's hard to see, like I appreciate LA for, how it is, what it is, like you got to take the good with the bad, right? It's like we got good weather, but the good weather leads to bad fires, It's like, who's going to complain that you didn't have enough rain? You know what I mean? It's like other places are having massive snowstorms and we're just sitting here on like sunny days, and then it's like, well, now we've got fires, So, that is definitely not good. And you've got all the entertainment and everything, that's great, but it leads up to, like just the way the place is built. Like it's very densely populated, and even the areas that, in the Pacific Palisades, it's as densely populated as it is. It's also not densely populated when you compare it to other areas in LA. Like once you start going like south, everything gets more, like you can see if you look at the pictures and you see how the city looks. I mean, every single light is something, unless it's a street light. It's like all those lights are something, a house, a property, a street light, a building, a store or something. Like everything is some kind of a property. Everything's just right next to everything else, and there's so much of everything and so many people. It's like we have so many people. Somebody was saying that the amount of people in LA is equal to the amount of people in Canada. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's accurate at all. But out here we have like millions, people in the millions, LA is very densely populated. And if you think about, with the housing crisis and everything, it's like people are living multiple people to a house. Like, like the houses are pretty crammed. And nowadays too, it's not like you have one car for the family. It's like everyone who's an adult now has a car. So everybody's got cars, multiple people living in houses. It's not like each house is one person. It's like everybody's got roommates, a bunch of roommates. It's a lot of people, a lot of unhoused people, a lot of ill people, a lot of elderly people, a lot of people that can't afford to really manage this. I can't compare it to anything like Hurricane Katrina or whatever. This isn't even the same thing, but you could see how it's different. It's like, it's different on so many levels. I'm not even going to try to compare or contrast or whatever, but it's like, I'm just hoping that I'm not going to wake up to like a massive death toll or an evacuation or something crazy. But for now, we're safe, we're good. I'm going to try and get some rest and wake up super early in the morning. It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to post this, go to bed, wake up pretty early. The air quality is pretty bad. I'm just trying to get as much rest as possible in case I need to be more alert and more, available. I don't want to be like on like half a night's sleep, I don't foresee myself being like, somebody's major support right now, but I've been on 7 Cups talking to some people. I've been on some chat apps talking to some people, just trying to be supportive where I can. At least online I can be supportive and just offer some kind words to people, some encouragement. Everyone's putting those signs, pray for LA kind of thing, like that I think that's one thing that people maybe don't know about LA. A lot of young professionals, a lot of people struggling, trying to just make ends meet and get the money that they need, to fund living here. Like that, that's kind of the population of people I know, is, people in their 30s and 40s that are, we're here because we love LA. Nobody stays in LA, and like I don't think anybody stays here that hates it. Like you're here, and you deal with the sucky parts of it because you like it. You like the city. You love the city. People love LA. People have a lot of love for LA. We love our teams. We love our stars. We just love it. We have a lot of pride for our city. We love our diversity. There's no place like it. And to see places, when they're concerned about like Hollywood, West Hollywood, and all these places that it's like we go to, we hang out at these places, we value these places. We don't want to see them on fire. We don't want to see people suffering, losing their businesses, historical sites, tourist attractions and things like that. Like, but yeah, the people of us who like live here and, who are bopping around on a daily basis, we love creativity, we love art, we love sports, we love that kind of thing, and, music and, a lot of people don't really have the resources in their pocket to really do well with this kind of situation. That's kind of more so what worries me. You can tell that people are struggling when you start hearing on the news, oh, there's fires. Oh, wait, there's people that are rushing to go loot the houses in Hollywood and Malibu, Like they're trying to loot and steal because, maybe there's a certain percentage that has enough and has plenty, and they're being overly greedy, and acting out of their own frustrations in life. But I'm pretty sure a certain population of those people looting are doing it out of what they feel is a necessity for themselves and their own families. It's like people out here aren't all wealthy, and it's possible to appear wealthy. You can be in debt, look wealthy, have a bunch of stuff, live that life, look like you're living that life, but be struggling, and yeah, like I'm glad everyone I know is safe as far as I know, at least for today. And if anyone who's listening is a first responder, we're all grateful for those people who are putting their lives on the line. The people who are convicted, who are putting their lives on the lines, fighting these fires, the people who, this is their career, the people who are volunteering, all those who are labor, all of those who are a force, that are, out there volunteering, all the celebrities that volunteer and put their money and their efforts and their willpower into when there's a disaster around, like a lot of celebrities are losing their homes too, they've named quite a few celebrities that have lost their homes. It's hard to see, but yeah, I don't really hate on anyone out here, like rich or poor, from the people living on the side of the cliffs with their 4-story mansions to the people that are sleeping out in front of the gas stations, like, I'm not hateful of any of the people. Like, that's a part of the city. That's how it is, I wish that people didn't have to be homeless, but that's a reality. We have a very large homeless population, and the weather's not super warm out. It is winter. It is actually cold, kind of warmer the last couple days, but it's still cold enough that I've technically got my heater running, my little space heater. But yeah, I hope everybody's okay out there. All you Angelinos, hang in there. All you Orange County folk, hang in there. Like, it's just get out, get to safety. It's hard to see things be lost so quickly. Almost in the blink of an eye. If you've got winds tearing through, so fast, it's just blowing these embers all over the place and lighting everything up. And with everything being so close together and everything getting lit up like that, it's pretty scary. There's a lot of blackouts of parts of the city, without power. It's like I said, some people can't afford that. Some people are probably working right now and have jobs that rely on them being online. There's some people that probably have health things going on that require, at least a generator, a backup generator. But, yeah, like it's, like this isn't even, it hasn't affected our property or anything, and it's still, I'm just still, like, pretty, like, bothered by it all. It's hard to see. I love LA. I do love LA. Like, I hate the traffic, but I love the city. I love the city. I'm definitely not gonna be hanging out up in Hollywood this weekend. I might be up there in 2 weeks, but I got a rave this weekend, I think, probably in San Pedro, so might be doing that. And I don't know, I'll probably be up at like 5 in the morning tomorrow and see how far I get with things. But yeah, I just want to say to everyone in LA who's struggling with things, hang in there, get to safety, figure out the rest later, but I know that's also not an easy solution. To say figure out the rest is like, A lot of people are losing their livelihood. They're losing everything they have. You know, it's just kind of weird though, because I know how people are, and I know people are like, oh, the prophecies because of the evils of a city, or like what, all that kind of nonsense. But I just think about the reality, because I know people out here, and I know how the people are that I know. I know everyone's not rolling in money. Even the people with the Teslas, I know some of them who can't afford it. Even the people with the mansions, I know people who can't really afford it, or they can or could at one point, and now, they're in a struggle. I know that's the reality for people that I know. Some people are better off than others, have had maybe better luck or less back-to-back, urgent situations. Maybe some people make better decisions than others, but you know, that's not really what I'm thinking about. Is like blaming people or being jealous of them or envious of, oh, they have more, like they can afford to lose it, kind of mentality. Like, no, like, it hurts them. It hurts them too. Like, I don't think, you know. It's a whole other topic, if I have to start talking about like the wealth divide and things, but the way I see it isn't all like, if you've ever seen that, have you ever seen that show, The OC? I mean, that's kind of a silly, almost a silly show, but if you've ever seen that show, The OC, how you see how it looks like on the outside, everything's all perfect, and all these wealthy people with these glamorous lives, and everything looks so beautiful, and then the next thing you see is like the details of their lives, of what's falling apart, and it's like, nobody's life is perfect. So, I don't think anybody wants to have to evacuate or lose their home in a fire. I don't think anybody wants that, even if it is the best case scenario that it can be built back or whatever, and even if they get it built back quickly, and even if they have insurance and they can have their house back, even if it was possible for them to have it back in like 3 months or something, they're still going to have to figure everything out up until that point. For 3 months, they're still going to have to be dealing with all of the expenses and all of the, stress of everything, while trying to work or go to school and do everything they need just to get everything built. And there's obviously going to be stuff that they couldn't replace unless they're like super minimalist, you can't replace some things, and especially when you've been somewhere a while. Like, I've lived in this house since, I don't know when, since maybe 1999 or something, and I've got, like, even when I look around in my room, it's like I've got a picture on the wall from I think it's from the Huntington Library. No, it's from the Norman, I think it's Norman, in Pasadena. I've got a signed poster by this band I love named Thrice that was from someone gave me that poster. I've got my thesis, one of my posters that I presented at a conference that, was based on my thesis, my master's thesis. I've got half of the sheet music for Metallica's S&M album. Some other printouts from like back in like high school, some printouts of some guitar tabs, a bunch of books, from when I used to read a bunch of Orson Scott Card books back when like the Enders series wasn't even like completed. So a lot of the Enders series, paintings, photographs, journals, just pictures with friends, a couple of art things I made, artistic things like the shamisen I build and some other stuff that I've made over since high school and stuff. Some really nice souvenirs and instruments from people. Like, just looking around, I'm like, if I had to even leave that stuff, and none of it is like something I could eat or drive, or even trying to sell it wouldn't really be worth probably hardly anything at all. It would still be really difficult to lose those things. My keyboard, my Yamaha, it's like PSR 520 or whatever. Like, it's from like the 90s keyboard. Just stuff like that. It's like, it would be really, really difficult. But, and I know I have more than some. And I know there are people who have more than me. And that's just kind of how it is, I don't practice a lot of like jealousy about people having more money or people having more time or energy or whatever. Everybody's situation is different, but I hope everybody gets to safety. I've got to go to bed so I can get up early, but hang in there, everybody. I hope everybody's okay. And yeah, I love LA. I love you, LA. I hope everybody gets some rest and stays safe. Please, everybody in LA, please, my fellow Angelinos, stay as safe as you possibly can. Thanks for listening.